Oki.
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 Oki and welcome.
We acknowledge that we're gathered on the lands of the Blackfoot people of the Canadian Plains.
We pay respect to the Blackfoot peoples past,
Present, and future.
We recognize the thousands of Indigenous peoples
From many diverse nations.
Call Lethbridge home.
Including members of the Blackfoot Confederacy,
Of the six gates of the people.
Akana,
Siksika.
Amskapi people.
As well as other First Nations.
Métis, and Inuit peoples.
We respect Indigenous peoples' cultural heritage,
beliefs,
truth,
and relationship to the land.
that stretches back in time.
We will not blink at history.
We will not blink at history.
and we will learn from it.
Oki is an invitation.
A step forward.
in Blackfoot, Oki means hello.
Oki means hello.
Hello.
Oki.
Oki. Oki, and welcome to the lands of the Blackfoot people.
As I'm sure many of you have seen that Oki video, which has a goal of increasing awareness, education, and conversation in the spirit of truth and reconciliation within the city and the community. It is created with our Indigenous partners and produced by local company Output Media. So thank you very much to the Lethbridge Chamber of Commerce. Cindy, where's Cindy at here? Gosh, okay, over here. Thank you very much, Cindy, Davidson Williams, and something I wanted to point out with Charlene that, you know, we hear Charlene, she'll come up and she speaks at many different events. They sponsor many different events, and I've had the opportunity of golfing, and she's a good golfer too. I might add that, she didn't put that in there. But also something that she didn't mention, that just this past week, as we had sitting at Economic Development Lethbridge, Cindy is now the new chair, the upcoming chair for the for Economic Development in Lethbridge. So congratulations on that, Charlene. Also, to visit Lethbridge, the Lethbridge Coast Hotel and Conference Center, and all of you, thank you. My own phone goes off. All right. The Lethbridge Conference Center, and all of you for coming here today for the 2024 State of the City Address. The official 2023 municipal census results show that Lethbridge has a population of 106,550 as of April 2023. This marks an increase of about 5,068, so that's up about 5% or 1.25% per year from the 2019 municipal census. Lethbridge is, and we're really very proud about this, the third largest city in Alberta based on the municipal census data. Lethbridge consistently demonstrates a sustainable and healthy rate of growth. The stability as well as steady growth and retention allows the City of Lethbridge to plan effectively for the future of our community. Between City Council, City Administration, and all the hardworking departments in the corporation, there were some challenges in 2023 and here into 2024. There are also plenty of great news stories for the City of Lethbridge, many of which I'll speak about here this morning. So Lethbridge City Council. We're past the halfway point of this term since myself, Councillors Mark Campbell, Jeff Carlson, Belinda Croson, Reiko Dodick, John Middleton Hope, Nick Palladino, Ryan Parker, and Jen Schmidt-Rempel, several of whom are here this morning, took our oath of office and formed the current Lethbridge City Council. It's been a great honor and privilege for all of us to serve Lethbridge residents. And this, believe me, is a great council. Council will continue to work with our local elected representatives, MP Rachel Thomas, MLA Shannon Phillips, and Nathan Newdorf, and other levels of government for the collective goal of creating a better Lethbridge and to advocate for the resources and funding our city needs to address key issues. We will push to further secure and advance our business sector's needs so we can be the first place investors and businesses come when they open new doors and ventures within our community. But we still have a lot of work to do. So to move on to government roles and responsibility, here's a graphic outlining government's roles and responsibilities. One of the biggest components of a municipal level is to advocate to other levels of government for further supports in the city. At last fall's Alberta Municipalities event, and with several trips to Edmonton in 2023, both council members and administration are always striving toward collaboration and further intergovernmental work on a number of fronts. So start a little bit about the state of the city outline. I'll be speaking this morning on items focused through these sections: top priorities and issues, city finances, major community and regional partners, some more good news, and project and events updates. At the end, I'll remind everyone of all the great ways to stay informed and to provide some closing remarks. I'll then open the floor up to any questions you may have. And if I can't answer something, I'll turn them to my council members, or we can answer them later. Top priorities and issues. Council pledged an approach that clearly articulates priorities, creates further transparency, reports performance, and builds community trust. We aim to improve residents' quality of life, to meet the community's changing needs, to foster a prosperous local economy, and to grow in a responsible manner for years to come. In this section, I'll identify and discuss some of the top priorities and issues in Lethbridge, including Lethbridge and District Exhibition, water and wastewater, community safety, supporting the vulnerable population, as well as, one of my favorites, physician recruitment and retention. This is by no means a full or extensive list. The Big C City of Lethbridge is not only the exclusive municipality facing similar challenges, and the City of Lethbridge is not solely responsible on jurisdiction on some of these matters. These are issues happening in our community. However, we do have the responsibility to do what we can with our roles and continue to advocate in areas of need throughout other levels of government. Lethbridge and District Exhibition. I'll begin with a very brief refresher and background on this topic, just in case anyone has been away for the last couple of months. The Lethbridge and District Exhibition came before City Council in November of this last year, asking for $6.7 million in emergency funding and the immediate takeover of the old pavilions, excluding the West Pavilion. The organization cited the impact of inflation, interest rates, supply chain issues, and other lingering COVID-19 impacts as causes of these shortfalls. Additional capital costs, as well as the expenses of maintaining the old pavilions, has depleted the exhibition's reserves, which means they would be unable to move forward without additional financial support. The city owns the land the agri-food hub and trade center is located on, and contributed $25 million towards the construction of the facility, which began in March of 2021, as well as $17.8 million loan. On December 18th, City Council approved some interim emergency resource funding to the Lethbridge District and Exhibition. This includes an emergency operating grant of $250,000 allocated immediately. The city also set aside up to $950,000 in contingency, held under city control for verified emergent needs. This includes an independent third-party review of the Lethbridge and District Exhibition. This also includes allocating staffing resources that will help maintain business continuity at the agri-food hub. Currently, 2 staff members have been seconded to provide interim transitional leadership until at least January 23rd. A memorandum of understanding is to be developed between the city and the Lethbridge and District Exhibition based on the recommendations contained within the letter of intent, no later than January 19th, subject to City Council's approval at the January 23rd Council meeting. If the MOU is approved at that time, it'll provide further clarity and guidance for the next steps. The LDE board continues to have governing authority over the organization. This will not change until an MOU changes the governance structure and that is agreed upon by the LDE and the City of Lethbridge. These transformations will ensure the clarity and information needed is available to inform good decision making in the future. It'll also provide transparency to the community regarding how public dollars are being spent. There's been a lot of conversation in the community about this. Members of the Chamber and other organizations in the cities have been quite vocal about involvement from Council and City administration. So I want to be crystal clear on this matter. This is not a position we ever wanted to be in. But the reality is, this organization is in financial trouble, and change is needed. This is going to cost the city a lot of dollars, to be very honest, one way or another. To further that comment, and again, to be crystal clear, providing support to LDE was not in council or administration's work plans. I'm sure City Manager Lloyd Browderly would rather have his time and energy dealing with the next topic of today's presentation. I'm extremely proud of how City Council and administration have come together to take a leadership role in this change and work within the city, with the city and the Lethbridge and District Exhibition to make that happen. We want to reassure the community and those who invested in this facility that the Agri-Food Hub and Trade Center remains open for business. The City of Lethbridge and Lethbridge and District Exhibition also have a long-standing relationship dating back to the early 1900s. As Councillor Belinda Croson could tell you, there's been several points in history where the city has provided support to the Lethbridge exhibition. We have always found a way to work through it for the benefit of our community, and we'll do that again. Move on to water and wastewater. Water, as we know, is not an infinite resource, and as the city's population continues to grow, the process to provide water and wastewater services to residents and businesses becomes a more pressing issue. Advocacy efforts for sustainable long-term water and wastewater infrastructure have been in conversation at last fall's Municipalities Convention in Edmonton, as well as several standing policy committee and Lethbridge City Council meetings. I provide a letter of support on behalf of Council to the Town of Coaldale and to the Town of Taber for 2 Alberta Community Partnerships ACP grant applications. They're seeking funding for high-level surfacing analysis of potable water and wastewater infrastructure along the Highway 3 corridor. This is a shared desire at the provincial and the municipal levels to develop the corridor along Highway 3 between Lethbridge and Medicine Hat as a global hub for agri-food processing facilities. The City of Lethbridge is prepared to act as a technical lead on both applications regarding analysis of the Lethbridge region and existing regional customers. We're committed to regional collaboration and recognize that it is in the mutual interests of all communities to work together in the pursuit of regional economic development. It is fiscally responsible to invest in the maintenance and expansion of existing municipal infrastructure to meet the growing needs of the communities and industries. Advocacy efforts are happening at multiple levels, including meaningful conversations between provincial ministries and council members at the Alberta Municipalities Conference. Lethbridge is a regional hub for water and wastewater treatment, providing these essential services to more than 133,000 Southern Albertans in the city and surrounding region. That includes Lethbridge County, Colehurst, Coaldale, Diamond City, Monarch, Pitcher Butte, Iron Springs, Turin, Chin, as well as commercial, industrial, and agri-food processing customers. Lethbridge's municipal water and wastewater treatment systems require substantial capital upgrades and expansion, obviously, to meet the anticipated near-term and long-term growth in regional and industrial demands, which would facilitate economic development in the city and, of course, the region. Probably comes at no surprise that limited precipitation in 2023 has led to lower than typical water reserves across southern Alberta. We can assure residents there is no current danger of running out of drinkable water in Lethbridge. We do, however, recognize that the water levels are much lower than what we would typically see. The Old Man Reservoir dropped from 58% in August to maybe just turn off that ringer, thank you. Everyone knows I obviously like Hockey Night in Canada, by the sounds of it. So the Old Man River Reservoir, as I mentioned, dropped from 58% in August to 26% in November, while the Waterton and St. Mary reservoirs are also significantly lower than normal levels for this time of year. While the recent snowfall has been positive in terms of much needed moisture, we're hoping to see a lot more of this in the coming weeks and months, along with significant rainfall in the spring. The city's created collaborative working groups with internal expertise and external stakeholders and are actively investigating additional avenues for water conservation for the immediate and, of course, the long-term future. This work looks to include the regional partners the city provides water to. Our working groups are exploring all options, and residents can trust we will keep them informed about our proactive initiatives to manage low water reserves effectively. More detailed information will be discussed at our January 23rd meeting of Lethbridge City Council and the February 1st meeting of the Assets and Infrastructure Standing Policy Committee. All regional residences, businesses, and institutions are thanked for their ongoing voluntary conservation efforts. After the request was made to the community, if you remember back in August, a 20% reduction in peak water consumption was observed. So again, thank you to all those who helped out with this. Now to community safety. Lethbridge City Council and City of Lethbridge staff care deeply about the wellness of our community. The annual Stats Canada Crime Severity Index, which always seems to draw the most negative of headlines when it's released each and every year, is on a downward trend in Lethbridge, as it is in many parts of the country. The Lethbridge Census Metropolitan Area, the CMA, was ranked number 3 on the 2022 Statistics Canada Crime Severity Index. Winnipeg is now at number 1 with a CSI of 136.62, followed by Kelowna at 128.02. It's important to acknowledge that our CSI number has decreased. The CSI dropped from 8.12%, with Lethbridge overall crime decreasing by 5%. Lethbridge had a CSI of 118.97 in 2022, compared to 129.48 in 2021, 138.65 in 2020, and 141.67 in 2019. The Stats Canada data also uses the Lethbridge CMA, which includes several communities outside the city. So for comparison, Red Deer does not have a CMA, but their CSI was 30 points higher than the city of Lethbridge when you remove the surrounding communities. Well, not without some challenges, and we know there's a lot of challenges, but most municipalities across North America are facing similar challenges, and of course, I want to reiterate, there's so much more that we can do. I mentioned, there's all other communities do that, and I hear the comment, well, we're not all other communities, but understand the challenges that are faced throughout the world. But understand this, we most certainly have a beautiful and safe community here in Lethbridge, and I hope we can all remember that. I look at our police service and the work that they do, and I want to make sure that I give a shout out to each and every one of them, because it's obviously not easy. We'll always advocate for the resources that we need, but one thing to remember, Council does not direct the Lethbridge Police Service. That is the role of the Police Commission. The city has a role of ensuring a clean and safe community, facilitating partnerships and advocating other orders of government for these services. Much work has been done from city administration and past city council to move this forward. A little bit about the drug crisis. So responding to this drug crisis is a very complex issue. The city is one partner in the response as we work to support the provincial government and agencies who provide the programs and services related to addictions and mental health here in our community. Our intergovernmental health table, which I'll speak about a little bit later here, will also help address these matters moving forward. We also had our latest Downtown Lawlessness Reduction Task Force meeting, and I know that's a tongue twister. We came a long time to come up with that. But last week, and the next one is actually upcoming week here. They're open to the public, so I'd welcome you to attend. Supporting the vulnerable population. The city of Lethbridge, like many communities across the country, has been impacted by complex social issues, including the drug crisis, as I mentioned, and homelessness. This is something that is concerning to our entire community and has affected the health and safety of our residents. These challenges span many demographics, involve a multitude of social issues, and are managed across several government jurisdictions. With this growing concern impacting the quality of life in Lethbridge, the City of Lethbridge has expanded involvement in this area and taken action with more than 15 new initiatives over the past year and are helping to move the community towards solutions. We're the first in Alberta to have a coordinated encampment strategy, which has had a major impact. We know that entrenched encampments do lead to crime. City Council conditionally approved more than $1.85 million in funding for 2 affordable and social housing projects. These approvals are conditional on the securement of at least that same amount in provincial or federal funding to match the proposed municipal contribution. These projects would provide up to 80 new housing units in Lethbridge. We've worked on a shelter development strategy. In December, Alberta's government provided $1 million to fund up to 50 temporary winter shelter spaces in Lethbridge. Emergency shelters provide critical short-term accommodation and support for people experiencing homelessness. The shelter spaces will be run by the Blood Tribe Department of Health and be located in a mobile unit at Lethbridge's main shelter. This is the Expansion area. Alberta's government provides more than $3 million in annual funding for the operation of 121 year-round shelter spaces in Lethbridge. And now with these additional 50 spaces, that puts it up even higher. With the new funding, those at risk of experiencing homelessness now have access, as I mentioned, to over 170 emergency shelter spaces in the city. Shelter capacity is an urgent issue for our community, and we are grateful that we've been able to work with the Government of Alberta and Blood Tribe Department of Health to create the additional space. With colder temperatures, as we noticed that hit us here last week, this will help protect the health and wellness of those most vulnerable in our community. The City of Lethbridge also continues to advocate and implement increased supports under the Community Wellbeing and Safety Strategy for those experiencing homelessness in our community. For more information on these other initiatives of community and social development, please visit the city's website. Now, physician recruitment and retention. I just spoke last week with Dr. David Stewart from the South Zone, and he provided me with some updated numbers. In 2023, we were successful in recruiting 43 physicians to Lethbridge, 23 of whom are family physicians. Of those, 9 have not yet commenced practice in Lethbridge, but will shortly. We currently have 3 full-time OBGYNs, which we knew was a large concern, up from 1 a year ago, with 5 others who have now signed contracts and will be commencing in 2024 and 2025. We're headed to the University of Calgary and the University of Alberta at the end of February to recruit medical students to come and do rotations down here and consider setting up practice when they complete their training. Current areas of priority continue to be family medicine, including hospitalist medicine, internal medicine and its subspecialties, emergency medicine, and anesthesia. As a reminder, the municipal government does not have jurisdiction over healthcare in Alberta, and this work has not typically been done by us, but Lethbridge City Council continues to support efforts to attract and to retain medical professionals for our community. A healthy and thriving community has to include a strong base of family doctors. Liaising with our partners and promoting Lethbridge is highly important. In phase 1 of marketing, the City of Lethbridge joined together with the Chinook Primary Care Network, Alberta Health Services, and Economic Development Lethbridge for a campaign designed to sell physicians on the many different benefits of building a life and business in Lethbridge. We also continue to advocate for partnerships and promotion of the virtual opioid dependency program with mental health and addictions, as well as for the addition of a catheterization lab in Lethbridge, and for an academic teaching clinic. So here's a video that was created to help with recruitment efforts.
This is a story that started by a river, nestled in the prairies, at the foot of the mountains. In this place grew a city that from its beginning had an eye towards the future. Today, Lethbridge has grown into something better. A gateway to opportunity. A place that's learning, adapting. A place where athletes are forged and artists flourish. A place where
Oki means hello.
This is a story of a city built around balance between industry and community, arts and science, work and play. Lethbridge is far from the noise, but close to the action. This is a story of resilience. A city reconciling with its past to meet the challenge of the future. This is the story of a city by the river. one whose best chapters are not behind, but ahead. Come be a part of it.
With that, we've now arrived at everyone's favorite section, city finances. Lethbridge City Council met as Economic and Finance Standing Policy Committee for 3 days from November 14th to 16th for an overview of the current economic conditions and the impact they have on city's financial position and resources. Daryl Matthews, our CFO and Treasurer, highlighted the following topics: economic conditions, taxation pressures, utility pressure, operating and capital pressures, and impact on reserves. No one welcomes a tax increase, and with 0 increases from 2020 to 2022, plus inflation, this was the budget needed to maintain our service levels and address those resident concerns. In 2019, there was a 1.82% municipal tax increase, which was the lowest in 20 years. The City of Lethbridge then maintained a 0% increase to municipal portion of residential taxes for 3 years, 2020, 2021, and 2022, to minimize the financial impacts of the pandemic to property owners. The City of Lethbridge received an update from the Government of Alberta in regard to its Local Government Fiscal Framework, LGFF program, which replaces the Municipal Sustainability Initiative, MSI. All these acronyms, and trust me, there's way more that you can never imagine. Under the LGFF capital program, the City of Lethbridge is estimated to receive capital funding of about $12.3 million in 2024 and $14.2 million in 2025 under the LGFF operating program. The city is also estimated to receive $1.3 million in 2024, and that's additional top-up. Current projects approved under the city's 2022 to 2031 capital improvement program are fully funded up to the end of 2026. City administration was aware of the possible reduction in provincial funding. Therefore, in 2024 and 2025 projections for LGFF were estimated conservatively, and the current LGFF allocation will have no impact on these projects. In the future, starting in approximately 2027, the city's capital budget will encounter pressures from capital investment. Therefore, projects will need to be prioritized. The City of Lethbridge continues to face budget pressures for capital investment in the community, and the city's created awareness at the provincial level of the need for additional capital grant funding. The City of Lethbridge continues to seek other grant opportunities and will maximize the use of all available grants for both capital and operating projects. City administration will continue to update City Council on the status of capital and operating funding, along with the status of the current and future capital improvement program, CIP. Property taxes and property assessment. Here's a detailed illustration to break down what the municipal portion of your tax bill paid for in 2023. You'll again see the largest cent going towards our vital emergency services, with police at 15 cents of your dollar and fire and emergency management services at 14 cents, with 15 cents going toward community services. Individual properties may see a tax change on their bills for other reasons, such as a change in property assessment, so the value of the home, business, or your multifamily complex, an increase to the Green Acres Foundation budget, or to the Alberta school budget. Property tax bills are specific to each property. Anyone with questions can contact 311 to get information specific to their assessment and tax bill. You can also visit lethbridge.ca/taxes to learn more about property taxes. You can also use the City's Lethbridge's property information web map online to compare your assessment to your neighbors and other similar properties that have recently sold. You can also contact your assessment department with any questions or more details on your assessment. They'd be happy to assist you with answering any of these inquiries. To budget processes. In August of 2021, City Council approved the streamlining of the operating and capital budgets to achieve an aligned 4-year CIP and operating budget cycle. Only 4 years, 2022 to 2025, had previously been approved within the 2022 to 2031 CIP. This will allow the 4-year capital and operating budgets to be aligned starting in 2026 for the 2027 to 2030 budget cycle. This would be a change from the previous practice where council debates and improves a 4-year budget cycle every 2 years, alternating between the CIP and the operating budget. City Council stewards the budgets on behalf of the community, and this change will help Council provide greater budgetary oversight, better connect the capital and operating budgets, and help Council strategically focus on revenues and expenditures. This new process also gives councillors more opportunity to effect changes within the budgets over the course of their term. The 2024 operating budget is approximately $470 million, and the 2024 capital budget is approximately $64 million. This is included on page 11 of the 2023 to 2026 operating budget document that you find online. Major community and regional partners. This will be one of the shorter sections today, but it's also the one that has the most collective impact. All of these logos, and apologies if anyone was missed, represent some of the most important stakeholders from our community and region. And you'll please help me in giving them a round of applause. City Council and City Administration look forward to working with you all to move our community forward. Now on to the Brighter Together survey. Economic Development Lethbridge and the Lethbridge Chamber of Commerce have partnered on the Brighter Together survey of local businesses since 2019. This initiative probes local organizations to provide feedback about their current sentiments and overall business health in order to better understand local conditions and to communicate their results to local stakeholders. The findings from the survey help us anticipate and respond to current and future challenges in our area, and also help us highlight and articulate our comparative advantages as a city. Huge thanks goes out to EDL, who will be issuing a media release today that will highlight several points for this information. Optimism among local businesses and organizations remains high, as 2/3 of respondents express a favorable outlook for the next 6 to 12 months. The most pressing obstacles firms anticipate over the next year are related to costs, with rising costs of inputs, rising interest rates and debt costs, and rising costs of labor to the top the top projected barriers for 2024. The top locational challenges to do business were also centered around costs with utility costs, the municipal tax environment, and ease of permitting and regulatory procedures cited as the most pressing barriers in our area. And I'd just like to take a moment here to clarify a few points and any possible misperceptions that might exist within the community. In Lethbridge, utility costs for water, sewer, garbage collection, and recycling are amongst the lowest in Alberta, while our commercial electricity rates are competitive with most other municipalities in the province. In Lethbridge, the municipal property tax capita is in the middle of the pack among Alberta communities. Slightly higher than Calgary and Red Deer, slightly lower than St. Albert and Edmonton. In Lethbridge, the average turnaround time for development permit approval is 6 days, which is in the top 3 fastest among Alberta municipalities. Many times, simpler applications, such as for a single detached home, are approved the same day. That said, our staff are always on the lookout for ways to make these processes even more efficient. And understanding many of these timelines depend on the application coming in and the work that is being done prior to bringing that in for approval at City Hall. Back to the survey. Locational strengths were consistent with previous years, with quality of life selected again as the top attribute. Employers are more likely to maintain the status quo in regards to their workforce, with a rising proportion of respondents indicating their head count will remain the same over the next 6 to 12 months. An increasing share of respondents indicate they're likely to focus on upskilling and staff training over the year ahead. There's also an elevated focus on improving company productivity, with 2/3 of businesses and organizations highlighting this. Thank you to everyone who contributed to this. I want to express my appreciation to all of you and your staff and what you do as ambassadors to promote Lethbridge as a great place for enterprise and a great place to work and raise a family. Partnerships with the University of Lethbridge and Lethbridge College. Our ability to produce world-class research and innovation between our 2 outstanding post-secondary institutions is phenomenal. I look forward to continuing to work together with the University of Lethbridge and the Lethbridge College to leverage the work they do and bring focus to how they're changing the game of technology and innovation on the world stage. Although they've both been here for about a minute, but I'll again like to welcome the University President, Dick Virgias, and College President, Brad Donaldson, to Lethbridge. The impact of the University of Lethbridge and Lethbridge College. About 70% of students at the University of Lethbridge come from away. These students provide vibrancy to our city. The University of Lethbridge makes an annual $2 billion provincial economic impact and a $784 million Lethbridge economic impact. More than 9,000 alumni in Lethbridge, 9,154 to be exact, 8.6% of the city's population still live here today. Stronger partnerships being built. The U of L has been partners for decades working collaboratively on facilities. So we look at the Max Bell pool, the stadium, student residences, transit, UPass, emergency responses, and economic development. That's Team Lethbridge, RINSA, and Brighter Together. The city and the University of Lethbridge are working on a possible MOU to better cooperate and collaborate and be more intentional and strategic when working together in the future. Rural medical training, world medical training. Mayor and councillors have met with University President Dick Virgias and other senior administrators on several occasions about a proposed rural medical program at the University of Lethbridge, delivered in partnership with the University of Calgary. Such a program would make an incredible impact in increasing the number of physicians practicing in Lethbridge and in southern Alberta. Mayor and council have played an active role in advocating for this program. University President Virgias has been very public about his desire to have our community participate in their current strategic planning process. He said, "We will only be successful if this plan is truly collaborative and aligns with the needs and aspirations of the communities we serve." The city will be participating in the process, and I encourage all of you to do so as well. Impacts of the Lethbridge College. Police cadet training continues to be a great partnership. The most recent class graduated September 15th with cadets from LPS, Tabor Police Service, and the Blood Tribe Police walking the stage at Lethbridge College for presentation of their certificates and badges. Digital communications and media students participated in a crisis training scenario at the courthouse, fire hall, and LPS headquarters on October 24th. The students gained experience covering breaking news and dealing with a crisis from a comms perspective. The college placed 11th in the 2023 ranking of Canada's top 50 research colleges. It has been recognized as one of the fastest growing research colleges in Canada. This summer, for the first time, Lethbridge College and the University of Lethbridge joined forces for a Whoop Up Days breakfast in the downtown. It was a hugely popular event, and I'm sure many of you had the opportunity to attend. The city and the college are also working on a celebration of alumni who work for the city of Lethbridge. There are also some work-integrated learning projects in development. Some more good news. City Manager Lori Brierley recently presented an item to City Council called Celebrating Successes. As we've passed the mid-cycle for this council term, I want to take this opportunity to reflect on the first 2 years and to highlight some of the successes that have been achieved. And it's okay to talk about good news. A year ago to the day, the City of Lethbridge hosted its first in-person community engagement event since 2019. Held at the NMAX Centre, it featured more than 35 projects to explore, get informed, give feedback, and connect with the city staff and partners. Some of the major topics include the Land Use Bylaw Renewal Project, Waste and Environment, LPS, Rec and Culture, and Community and Social Development. Community conversations are a way to bring together all of the city's projects requiring community engagement in one convenient location, making it easier for residents to participate. Public participation helps build a strong and connected community, informs council's decision-making, and helps improve the city we all call home. We had more than 650 people at that first event. We hosted a second community conversation on October 23rd with more than 40 projects. The snow that day led to a slightly lower attendance, but the feedback was very well received. Plans are underway for the next one in 2024, So stay tuned for more information on that. Here's a video compiled from the October event. A signing of the Buffalo Treaty. During a ceremony at the University of Lethbridge last March, 5 members of City Council added the City of Lethbridge as a signatory supporting the Buffalo Treaty, thus making Lethbridge the first municipality to do so. The City of Lethbridge previously signed a memorandum of respect and understanding with Kainai Blood Tribe. Its purpose is to establish stronger communications, planning, and opportunities for joint advocacy between the City and Kainai Blood Tribe, to advance issues of common interest and resolve issues of common concern. The new City of Lethbridge website. The City of Lethbridge was excited to launch a fresh new Lethbridge.ca website focused on the needs of residents. Using industry best practices and past web analytics, the city's website content has been streamlined, navigation made more intuitive, search functions enhanced, and a clean new design incorporated. These changes make the site more accessible and user-friendly. This is our biggest communication tool, and new functions were long overdue. More public drinking water stations. The pilot project of 4 drinking water stations are a result of an initiative from City Councillor Nick Palladino during the 2023 to 2026 operating budget deliberations in November of 2022. Access to drinking water is important to the general population, but also perhaps more important to the vulnerable members of our community. Fee Assistance Program. Our revised Fee Assistance Program was launched with the aim to support residents facing financial barriers to both recreation and culture activities, as well as bus passes. In August, the program would expand again, incorporating the existing refugee bus pass program and accessoride options. Upgrades to Council Chamber. In August, several technology upgrades, and I hear some giggling out here, took place in the chamber, including new audio tabletop units with new microphones for better audio clarity on live streams. As well as most newer technology systems, we are still working out a few kinks, but for a variety of reasons, this refresh was required to support the current needs and expectations of City Council and the public to maintain accessible meetings in an ever-changing online and technology-driven world. Some of the infrastructure in Council Chamber has not been upgraded since the current City Hall opened in 2000. Funding for TV and film. We all recognize the high-level bridge here, and if you haven't seen the HBO hit show, The Last of Us, the CGI image was featured in an episode of The Last of Us. When the Hollywood LA next comes beckoning to our LA, City of Lethbridge will be better positioned to help shout lights, camera, and action. The initiative will serve as a starting point for the formal coordination and proactive development of creative industries sector in Lethbridge. With a focus on film, television, and digital content creation, we look forward to moving this forward with the Economic Development Lethbridge. New pickleball courts and community play boxes. In September, we were excited to officially open 6 new pickleball courts. And that is one heck of a sport that just keeps booming more and more. They're located just north of the original 6 pickleball courts at Lethbridge at the Legacy Park. The new courts include plexipave coating and windscreens. There is also an asphalt walkway on the west side of the courts, providing barrier-free access for users with mobility devices to enter the courts. The scope of the project was amended in May of 2023 to remove the previous CIP recommendations of adding windscreens and alternative surfacing to the existing courts, a viewing area, and benches. The amendments occurred with consultation from City Administration and the Lethbridge Pickleball Club to maintain the project and keep it economically feasible. Our Parks team was thrilled to introduce community play boxes back in September. These boxes are filled with sport and play equipment for anyone in the community to use at no cost. There are currently 2 boxes located at Legacy Park near the pickleball courts and Nicholas Sharon Park near the west parking lot. The intent of the play boxes is to inspire community members to take part in more outdoor activities while removing the barrier of having to purchase the equipment. The boxes will be accessible year-round with items updated for the next season. Now the new Okie signs at schools. The city's Indigenous Relations Office has funded and provided materials for each school in the City of Lethbridge and the Holy Spirit Catholic School Division here as well to create an Okie sign in their existing fencing. The project stems from an approved Indigenous placemaking strategy which was approved by City Council in 2021. Clean Energy Improvement Program. Applications are now open once again for the City of Lethbridge's Clean Energy Improvement Program, which will provide homeowners with a financial tool to support energy efficiency and renewable energy upgrades to their properties. Launched in late February 2023, CIP applications reached the initial capacity within a week. There were over 40 applications accepted and another 47 homeowners on the wait list. Council later removed the previous annual cap amounts, allowing for an expedited service delivery of the CEIP and therefore providing more homeowners timely access to this funding. More information is available on the city's new website. New Whoop-Up Drive emergency protocols. Lethbridge residents and motorists may recall the traffic incident last June that resulted in Whoop-Up Drive coming to a standstill for several hours. It's okay for us to admit this was not handled in the best manner, but we learned from it. An incident debrief was held in July of 2023 with all internal stakeholders, including transportation, the Lethbridge Police Service, Lethbridge Fire and Emergency Services, communications and engagement and, emergency services, communications and engagement and emergency planning and risk management. The revised protocol now more actively supports the following purposes. Number 1, provide two-way traffic on Whoop-Up Drive in the event the travel directions must be closed due to emergencies on the bridge deck or on the approach lanes. And number 2, provide maximum one-way movement in either direction across Whoop-Up Drive in the event of a mass evacuation on either side of the city. New dog run approved. New dog run is approved for the animal shelter. Thanks to a resolution from Councillors John Middleton Hope and Jeff Carlson, the Lethbridge Animal Shelter will soon be adding a forced dog run on a fenced dog run. We'll do a fenced, good thing we have the fence for the fenced dog run onto its property, provide new opportunities for exercising, training, and socializing dogs available for adoption. Council approved up to $30,000 in one-time funding from council contingencies for administration to move forward with a new on-site amenity, which will be nearly 1,100 square meters. The community barbecue. Thanks to a group of sponsors, 1,300 people outside Lethbridge City Hall on 4th Avenue were fed a few lunch. Take a drink of that. Mm-hmm. Well, Cindy was telling me, he says, you've only got this much time, and I'm seeing my ticker go down, and I'm just, we're good? All right, perfect. All right. You'll tell me when you throw something? All right. So, again, thanks to a group of sponsors, 1,300 people outside Lethbridge City Hall on 4th Avenue were fed a free lunch after the Whoop Up Days parade. Musician Trevor Panzak and his band entertained the crowd with a full concert set on the steps of City Hall. Premier Daniel Smith and several other MLAs also attended. Project and events updates. I'm going to use the next section to go over a few updates on several ongoing projects and events. Snow control changes. Right time to do that. We held off snow for quite some time this season, but now it is here and some new snow control changes are coming into effect. Each winter, City of Lethbridge Transportation Operations staff provide winter snow and ice control services to keep Lethbridge safely on the move. In response to public feedback and Lethbridge City Council approval, the city has adjusted snow clearing practices. Intergovernmental Health Table. A one-of-a-kind partnership and ongoing collaboration between key stakeholders was announced in November 2022 to try and tackle the health and social challenges of the city and surrounding areas. The creation of the Intergovernmental Health Table is a proactive step in bringing together invested partners to look at key issues affecting members of the Blood Tribe and Lethbridge communities. We meet on a regular basis to review matters of relevant importance to each community with a solid understanding of respect, inclusion, and collaboration. EMS dispatch. It's been 3 years since the transition of emergency medical services dispatch from the municipalities of Calgary, Lethbridge, Red Deer, and the regional municipality of Wood Buffalo. For the health and safety of all Albertans, the mayors of these 4 regions continue to advocate to the provincial government and Alberta Health Services to return local dispatch for a stable and integrated service. Wood Buffalo recently showed it is still possible for this change, so we'll continue to advocate. So downtown, as of October 2023, the BRZ told me there were 23 businesses, 2023 and 23 businesses that either opened or expanded operations during the 2023 in downtown Lethbridge. This is great news. We do, of course, know the construction project last summer was difficult on some, so thank you again to the businesses on 7th Street, 4th Avenue, and for that matter, many of them in the downtown area, as well as their customers and all those impacted downtown for their patience throughout the disruptions caused by this important infrastructure and construction project. The hardship of construction on a business is undeniable, but of course as well, the unexpected water main breaks throughout the winter months are as well. Festival Square. We talked a lot last year about the formation of Festival Square downtown. In 2023, Festival Square saw 73 events being held in that space. Speed zone harmonization and residential speed limits, pilot. Increased safety and creating one standard time for speed reduction zones are the primary reasons cited for the implementation of harmonized school and playground zones. Full implementation started in September 2023 to coincide with the start of the 2023-2024 school year. The new 30-kilometer zones combining existing school zones to playground zones to create one zone will be effective 7:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day of the year. This will make Lethbridge consistent with municipalities in Alberta with existing harmonized school and playground zones, including those of Calgary, Medicine Hat, Red Deer, Edmonton, and even Coaldale. We introduced a pilot project to lower speed limits to 40 kilometers an hour in Paradise Canyon, the Canyons, Uplands Black Wolf, and the southern portion of Southgate. The safety of Lethbridge residents is the city's top priority. The Transportation Safety Plan recommends reducing residential speed zones to work towards the goal of 0 transportation-related deaths and serious injury by 2040. The residential speed limit pilot project will be a multi-year project, and data on the pilot areas will be collected throughout the project timeline. There will be multiple opportunities to give feedback throughout the project, so make sure that you do that. Now on to organics. Last May, we unveiled the organics processing facility. The award-winning facility located at the Lethbridge Waste and Recycling Centre will receive and process all green cart materials collected from both the residential and commercial programs. The opening of the organics processing facility is a step forward in positioning our city to be more sustainable. It will help us reach our target of diverting 65% of residential waste from the landfill by 2030. Most importantly, it creates environmental benefits for Lethbridge now and well into the future. Here's one of our entries from the video series from our team created to help with the curbside organics rollout.
Hey Lethbridge, I'm your new green cart, and I'm so excited to start eating up all your household organics and yard waste. Now that we're going to be living together, I thought I'd share a few things about myself. I enjoy long rolls along the path to my pickup spot, cozy nights at home binging on the latest viral TikTok dinner that went wrong, and my favorite color is green, naturally. Or should I say organically? You can learn more about me, my little friend the kitchen pail, and the new Curbside Organics program at curbside.lethbridge.ca.
The City of Lethbridge continues to prepare the Lethbridge Airport for potential expansion opportunities. This includes ongoing conversations with Flair Airlines on future routes. Flair has originally partnered with the City of Lethbridge to propose a Lethbridge to Tucson, Arizona route, which unfortunately did not happen, as previously planned. We've invested significantly in our airport, leveraging grant funding to get us to a place where we can accommodate increased passenger traffic and potential trans-border international flights. We're in a really good position to continue conversations with Flair and other carriers around future new route possibilities at the Lethbridge Airport. Administration is to draft a bylaw to move forward with creating a transit citizen and customer advisory committee for review at a governance standing policy committee in Q4 of this year. Talk a little bit about municipal historic resources. Lethbridge was incorporated as a town in 1890 and as a city in 1906, which for a municipality is relatively young by comparison to many areas of the world. Despite our overall youth as a city, we do have an array of historic places. Those protected by the City of Lethbridge are called municipal historic resources, and through preservation efforts, we currently have 29 municipal historic resources, with 13 of them located in the downtown area. Thanks to Councillor Belinda Croson and our comms team for producing a video that you'll be seeing here.
So behind me is the Federal Building, later named the J.G. Higginbotham Building, best known of course to everybody in Lethbridge as the Post Office. They've renamed it the Post now, but I think most people will continue to call it the Post Office. Built between 1912 and 1913, Post Office moved in November of 1914 and has been there ever since. Probably the best known piece of the building is the clock tower. When the clock went in, they originally put the handles up, but they didn't have the glass on yet, and one of the hands of the clock actually fell off and almost hit somebody on 4th Avenue South, which is when they waited to be able to put the hands back up when the glass came in. When the tower was originally put up, there was actually a bell connected to the clock. That stopped in the late 1920s when they built the Marquis Hotel across the street, because the one thing the residents didn't like was the clock going off in the middle of the night.
Now, 311 Chat and the Lethbridge Loop app. Since March 11th, 2019, the friendly folks at Lethbridge 311 have been helping answer residents' questions about city services. Residents rely on 311 to get answers, and now contacting them is easier than ever. Last fall, we launched the 311 Chat, a live online chat available on lethbridge.ca and 311.lethbridge.ca as a new convenient way for residents to get answers to their questions about city services. For those unaware, through the Lethbridge Loop app, We also have a way for Lethbridge residents to receive City of Lethbridge service reminders. Residents can download the free smartphone app to receive waste and recycling reminders, as well as notifications for planned power outages, street sweeping, and water main work. So in the closing remarks, we've reached the final section today, and I'll review a few ways to stay informed, play one more video, provide some final comments, then open the floor up to questions. Ways to stay informed. I produced a Mayor's Monthly column for the City of Lethbridge website and the Lethbridge Herald that highlights the great things happening in our community. Please use the City website, which includes the news subscription, and new dynamic web map closures page. The modern and streamlined site was trimmed from more than 2,000 pages to just over 300 and is focused on ease of use for residents. Since launching on April 25th of 2023, it's had more than 1.4 million page views from 375,000 visitors. Here are some 2023 highlights from the city's official social media pages. YouTube had 95,900 video views, more than double the 42,917 views in 2022. Total viewing hours were nearly 7,000 hours. Facebook reached 552,605 people, up from 466,055 in 2022. The site ends 2023 with more than 21,000 followers. Instagram reached 141,089 people and added almost 1,000 new followers, or nearly 14,000 total followers. X, which I never could get, formerly Twitter. If anyone knows what you say, if you want to send a tweet, do you send a, and let me know what that is. Still a tweet, right? Yeah. So X, formerly Twitter, had 1,240 posts and 2,200,000 impressions. I want to show one more video. It's about the love of Lethbridge.
Lethbridge is a place unlike any other. It's not that we think we're better than other places, but we can't help but be proud of the things that make us special. Not the coolies, iconic span, the wind-carved landscape, or world-renowned flora, but the people, like you, like her, like them. Our friends, our neighbors, our family. We're proud to work for them. We'd love to work with you for the love of Lethbridge.
We live in an era where information and disinformation are available in an instant. It's more important than ever to engage in your community and keep up to date on reliable information. I hope I was able to provide some valuable information here in the 2024 State of the City Address. The full presentation will be available on the city's website by Friday, and Roger Shaw Lethbridge here will also have the video broadcast and on their YouTube page. Thank you again to the Chamber of Commerce, Davidson Williams, Visit Lethbridge, the Lethbridge Coast Hotel, and for hosting us all this morning. And especially thanks to each and every one of you for attending today. And as always, please be safe and kind to one another.
Hello. Testing, testing. All right, so we do have a little bit of time for some Q&A. If there's any interest, just throw your hand up. I can bring the mic to you. If not, of course there's things I can say. Oh, we got a question in the back. Oh. Just a minute. Oh, there we go. Sorry. Excellent, thank you. If you could state your name and who you're here with, that would be lovely.
Thank you. My name is Tolu Awudaru, and I'm here with Assurance Club from the University of Lethbridge. I am the president of the club, and I'm a student at the university. And this club is focused on getting international students more involved in the community. These international students are very much interested in gaining the relevant skills that can help build Lethbridge community. We've also gained a love and appreciation for this city. So you mentioned in your presentation earlier how about 70% of students that are at the post-secondary institutions are from away from Lethbridge, and we are one of these students that are away from Lethbridge, and we are wondering, in your plan for retention, what is the plan for international students who are interested in learning how to live, work, and play here in the city of Lethbridge? Thank you.
Thank you very much for that question. Now, at the university as well as at the college, many of these works are done through those institutions. So we will work together with those different institutions on what we can do to prepare for additional students coming from international students. Now, again, this is usually the college and the university. However, it's important. These students do spend their time within our community while they're studying. So it's important for us to be able to have the facilities, the services, the pools, housing, etc. Try to be able to be on top of that. So when the students come, they do have an enjoyable stay, and we want them to be able to stay. So working together with our other partners is probably the #1 thing. And we've had this opportunity. It's been great. Council and yourselves have been able to meet a few times, which has been great. To be able to hear about some of the challenges that you're facing there at the university. And I hope we continue to do that into the future. Keep us posted. We're more than happy to help out where we can. Thank you.
Perfect. Any other questions? Oh, there we go.
Good morning, Mayor Hyggen, and thank you for such a great presentation this morning. There's so much positivity, and I just wanted to add to it. My name is Amanda Jensen. I'm the Executive Director of Volunteer Lethbridge. I'd like to just add some good news to what you reported. There were 227 million volunteer hours given in Lethbridge in 2023. Can you believe that? Thank you. Yes. Two more statistics here. Would it surprise you to know that 57% of the Lethbridge population volunteers? That's insane. It's more than half.
Great.
Okay. And lastly, there is a $134 million economic contribution through volunteerism to our community. Excuse me. Sinus infection. So when we talk about the great things that are happening in Lethbridge, we can talk about the great social things around volunteerism, but there's also a huge economic impact. I wanted to share that and just ask if there's a way that we can include that in the good news stories that we share within our own community and outside of Lethbridge, and thanks for the opportunity. Absolutely.
Thank you so much for that, Amanda. We are so lucky to have the volunteers that we do within our community. When any event comes to town, yourself and your team providing the volunteers, it's been second to none. You know, a lot of times we get nervous when we want to host an event like the curling, World Curling or whatever, but the volunteers are there and are always there to support, and those numbers are amazing. Please, if you could, forward them on, because that's some incredible information. But yeah, we do have an incredible community, and a community filled with volunteers, and so it does make for definitely a vibrant community. So thank you very much for pointing those out.
Hi, Blaine. I'm Michelle, representing Tourism Lethbridge today. We were very happy to see the Gateway of Opportunity, tourism being a huge part of the your strategic plan. So moving forward in the LED, we're looking forward to seeing what comes out of that Lethbridge Exhibition District and the Agri Food Hub. I think there's a lot of opportunity there, so we're excited about that. And with that, is the city looking at different municipal and provincial funding models to support not only our current tourism sector, but for future development with like other municipalities?
Thank you very much for that question. We've heard time and time again, every time that I know myself and my colleagues go to Edmonton or talk with different ministers that may be down here or MLAs, that the #1 thing that they always comment on is they want to have a regional approach. Show us something that is not just city, we want a regional approach. And it's so important because we know that in order to grow our community and the services that we have, the region is what comes into Lethbridge and helps us do that. So any opportunity we have when we meet with ministers across the board, it doesn't matter for what funding, we usually do it in an approach with other communities, and that way there we're building our region. And we found that getting funding is much easier when you work together as a team. So if we look at our water, wastewater, we're doing exactly that. Working with Tabor, with Coaldale, and all these other areas as we have a facility that many use. And so to be able to work together as a team definitely makes a difference. And we're told that time and time again when we meet with ministers that is of great importance and something that we do very well down here. So, and going forward, I'm sure the last, did that answer your question, or was there something else added in there, Michelle? Sorry. Yeah, regional. Thank you. And tourism, thank you very much for the work that you do. And not just that, but did everyone have the opportunity to go see the lights over at Nikayuko? Has everyone had? And if you haven't, it's still on till February 24th. Thank you very much, Michelle.
Any other takers? Oh, we got a hand up in the back again. This is great. Getting those morning steps in that I didn't get in because it was an early morning. Oh, okay.
Thank you. My name is Michael Hagbabiaka, and I'm Operations Manager by POC Foundation. And I'm also privileged to be a member of the Ottawa City Committee. And I just wanted to ask this morning, given the peculiar challenges that the city is facing in the number of people on the streets and displaced people, my major question right now is, what are the major challenges that the city is facing, and what are the opportunities for equity-seeking organizations and organizations that are looking to support socially displaced people, and how can we best partner with the city in terms of this, with peculiar reference to the indigenous community? Thank you.
Thank you very much for that question, and a great question. I spoke a little bit earlier through the presentation about this intergovernmental health table, and it's a partnership that myself and Charles Weaselhead from the Blood Tribe Department of Health co-chair this, and we bring these different challenges that are shared throughout our community as well as their community, how we can best, and you had mentioned you wanted to hear more about how we're working with Indigenous population. This is exactly it. It's most important to get together, work together on common, we share definitely more in common than we do differences, and we see a lot of the folks that are on our streets that are homeless are of Indigenous background, and so working together with this group, one of the biggest things we've seen is the shelter is now being run as of last January by the Blood Tribe Department of Health. And so culturally, it has been a great shift, and we've heard a lot of great things about that and the support from those that do need to use the shelter. Now, so much more that we can do. We've worked with different organizations throughout our community that will work not just only with Indigenous, anyone that is homeless and on the streets. And so often we hear that, we just need to get homes, we need to get homes, we need to get homes. We do need homes, we do need housing, but more important, we need the support services that go with that for many folks. So we do have a facility that is going to be opening up here the end of this year, I believe. It's just going through the process, either the end of this year or spring of the following, a permanent supportive housing unit. So what that does is it will take folks from the street that do require the additional supports, year-round supports, daily supports, and they may never have a way to live without the support services that is offered at that location. So that is up to 40 different units that will be there. They'll have regular doctor visits, they'll have a pharmacy there, they'll have some of the different support services that some of these folks require. Because I was on the Lethbridge Housing Board here for about 10 years and chaired the board, and one thing that we'd noticed is if you put folks into a home, and they would become available time and time again, we'd put folks into homes, and if you didn't have the support services, they were out, and some of them within 2-3 weeks. So it's so important that we have those support services. And so I know there's many different agencies here, and I saw them. I know Bill is here. Where's Bill Ginther? Bill Ginther from the soup kitchen. Oh, he's left. All right, he had to go and probably serve. There you go. But any of these different services that we have, these service providers out there that help us, we need to stay in constant contact with them and find out what their challenges are and how we can help them move forward. So I'm hoping that answered your question. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, and good morning, everyone. Lethbridge is alive and well, and a number of people in this room is a testament to that. I'm very happy to see the statistics here. Shows that Lethbridge businesses are thriving, and Lethbridge is doing very, very well. My question is twofold. We have a fantastic university and a college, world class in this city, but having lived there for a few years, what I've noticed is we see students come from all over, and they come here for university and colleges, but because of the lack of diversity or diversification of the kinds of businesses that exist in the city, we see Lethbridge almost seems to be a revolving door where people come and fantastic talents have to leave to go seek opportunities elsewhere. I see that one of the strategic priorities is retention and recruitment and retention, and I wanted to know, what we're doing to ensure that we are retaining some of this beautiful talents to continue to grow this city. The second question is around targeted support for small businesses. When you go to cities like Calgary and Edmonton, Lethbridge happily being the third largest, in the province, I think it would make sense, for us to try to benchmark the kind of support that those cities are giving to small businesses. And I looked through, the conversations this morning, and there's not been anything specific as to, getting that level of support for, targeted support or targeted funds that small businesses can tap into when they run into trouble. And we know that businesses run into trouble all the time. So what are we doing about this? What are we thinking for strategic direction in this areas of focus? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And in regards to, I think the biggest part about having a university and college here, and you mentioned a little bit to it, is that trying to retain the retention of these folks that are leaving these institutions. And how can we, and understanding that most of them come from outside of Lethbridge, what can we do to keep them? I know it's a big part on businesses, to be very honest with you here. And I know that being a member of the chamber for many years, a business I have, I've sponsored. I've brought other international students into Lethbridge, and so over the years I've had 3 Brazilians that have worked for me there, 2 from South Africa, and I've also had 2 of Asian descent have also been there. And it's amazing the opportunity you have when you have that diverse workforce within your community and within your business. And so I'd encourage everyone to take that opportunity and reach out and find where we can be more diverse within our community. And I know that, again, speaking to the fact that a majority come from outside of Lethbridge, this is important to keep that work within our community. You mentioned as well about funding for different businesses. Now, what we can do when it comes to that is, and I know a lot of times we don't like to hear this, but advocate to different levels of government. But there's still probably more, and not probably, there's more that we can do as a community. And so we stay in touch with the businesses, stay in touch with economic development and with the Chamber of Commerce and others to find out ways that we can, including the college and the university, what we can do to retain that education here, but also to get the funding that's required so that those businesses can thrive within our community. I know it's been a tough time through COVID. I know many times I had a business of over 30 years, and there's many times that I was sitting in front of my accountant asking him, is now the day, should I just close up? And I think a lot of it was pride. You've had this business for so long, you wanted to just kind of make your way through the COVID pandemic, but we've seen a bounce come back. And it's thanks due to in part to the community and the support that they've given to local businesses. And so, again, I would encourage you all to support local business. We see the signs, and you know, we might read them every now and again, but I think it's extremely important that we support our local businesses so that they can continue to thrive and be part of our community. So we'll continue to work with the other levels of government, try to get the necessary funding that we need to be able to support a business. And I know that Alberta has done a lot with having the lowest tax rate as far as attracting businesses. But is there more that our community can do? We'll stay in touch with those that have a great understanding and have the ear to the ground with business. And so that being Cindy and Trevor from Economic Development and others. So thank you very much. Appreciate the questions. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm a bit shorter. Thank you so much for your presentation today. After this event, you will see the full release of the 5th Annual Brighter Together Business Survey. And we do look forward to sharing complete details of the survey through our advocacy efforts over the year. And we commit to working diligently with partners to ensure that both the locational strength and challenges are part of our work. There are a couple postcards that have been put on the table. I really want to thank Trevor and his dedication to this community. And I would like to thank Sarah and her dedication, because it started out with Lethbridge Chamber and Economic Development, and then we added on, thankfully, Downtown BRZ. And that was an important link as well. So thank you to everyone's team for your continued work on this. And I'm so proud of the university students for getting up and asking the first question. I am a double U of L alum. And I just finished a 6-year term on the U of L Senate. Yesterday when they called and said, we've got some students that want to come, and I believe we have 15 of them, and we have a partnership with Teamwork Career Center, and it's our workforce development. And because of that partnership, we were able to ensure that all the students that wanted to attend today were able to attend. And that's the power of partnership, and that's the power of creating and connecting with our workforce. So your questions were so pertinent today in that area of how do we connect with you, how do we keep you here, and how do we show you this is the best city to stay and grow and develop your career. So thank you. If all the students could stand up, I would love for us to recognize you. Thank you. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about, in my last couple of minutes, I promise I won't keep you guys too long. Advocacy. It's a word I say a lot, so you think it should just roll off my tongue by now. It's uncomfortable work at times. Engaging in advocacy on business issues is essential for fostering positive change, improving corporate responsibility, and aligning business practices with evolving expectations. Organizations that navigate these challenges thoughtfully and authentically contribute to positive business and societal outcomes. That's why we need those questions asked. Challenging the status quo, advocating for changes in business practices involves confronting established norms, traditions, or eternal processes, which again can be uncomfortable for those resistant to change. Internal resistance from organization and stakeholders may arise, particularly if they perceive advocacy efforts as disruptive or against their interests, posing a challenging aspect of business advocacy. Striking a delicate balance between various interests, including shareholders, employees, customers, and the broader community, is crucial for successful efforts. Engaging in advocacy on business issues often entails navigating political sensitivities, involving interactions with policymakers, industry associations, and regulatory bodies, making lobbying and public policy advocacy intricate, and I'm going to use that word, uncomfortable, again. Engaging in advocacy may face public scrutiny, particularly if positions are controversial, requiring careful management of reputation risks and potential backlash. Anticipating unintended consequences or unforeseen challenges is a crucial aspect of the work we do, demanding careful consideration and strategic planning to minimize negative impacts. Why do we do it? Because Chamber of Commerce believe in our community. That's why we do it, and we will continue to do our best to honor our city, our province, and our country. Now, I'm going to talk a minute because I have my own private business. In January, we celebrate our 30th anniversary. We have 3 generations now that have gone through that company, and I know there's other companies in this room who are also generationally owned and operated. So does Cindy Bester, as Cindy Bester, the private business owner, have views on business? Absolutely. I've been here a long time. A lot of you have seen me grow up in my various family-owned businesses. And I thank you for your dedication and your support to me, my family, and this community that has helped me raise my children. Now, when I am the CEO of the Chamber of Commerce, I am so fortunate. Today I got to introduce you to all 13 of our board members. That is a privilege to be able to work with so many different board members and such interesting backgrounds. The other neat thing is I've been doing this now for 5 years. So I have got to work with so many different board members over those 5 years. So I want to thank you, Mayor Hyggen, and the councillors present, and administration, because I know a lot of our conversations sometimes may be uncomfortable, but we want to learn, we want to talk, we want to have that coffee. And that goes to every single member of the Chamber of Commerce or member of this community. Let's get together, let's talk, let's work things out so we can have the best policies, because it is wonderful work. I know sometimes people think it's boring and oh my gosh, how do you get up and debate all these different policies? But it's valuable, it's essential, and we have to do it at all 3 levels. So thank you, City. You hold a very, very precious city in your hands, and I thank you for the hard work that you do. If we could give them a round of applause.